I want to tell you the story of a family I worked with who had a 7-year-old boy who we'll call Chris. Chris had ADHD, and like many kids with ADHD, he would sometimes have blow-ups when things weren't going his way or when he had to transition from a preferred to a non-preferred task. Well, every time Chris had a blow-up, his parents would make him sit down and they would start playing armchair therapist, which is my term for asking lots of why questions and abstract, how did that make you feel type questions that are typically difficult for younger kids with ADHD to answer because the ADHD brain tends to be concrete and often does not do well with abstract questions. On top of this, they would rehash a sequence of events and attach feeling words to every part of the sequence so it would sound like this. So you did this and it made me feel this way, and then you did that and I felt, and so on and so on. So how did Chris react to this? Well, sometimes he would run out of the house, sometimes running, and sometimes getting on his bike. Then his parents would chase him, which became a giant game for Chris. His parents explained to me that when he was running, he would often be turning around laughing as they were chasing him. So this really turned into a fun game for Chris, who tended to be very active to begin with. What I suggested to the parents was that instead of playing armchair therapist and processing every behavior incident, wait until some time had passed and have a brief conversation with Chris, no more than 3 minutes because of his age, where they could help him to understand how he was feeling in that moment and how his behavior made them feel. I'm going to give you an example of what that would sound like speaking to a 7-year-old, but before that, I just want to remind you that your role as a parent is to guide your child in understanding and managing their feelings, not to force them to talk about their emotions. So here's an example of how that would sound with a 7-year-old. When I told you that it was time to shut off the computer because we had to leave to go to grandmom's, you got pretty angry, which I understand because you were enjoying the game you were playing and didn't want to stop. It's okay that you were mad at me for telling you to shut off the game, but it's not okay to be mean. Next time, could you tell me you're feeling mad at me instead of just screaming and saying mean things to me? I would have told you it's okay to be mad at me. I know that what I'm telling you right now might sound counterintuitive to other parenting advice you've heard. And one thing I want you to understand is that what I call therapy culture has really seeped into parenting advice and has taught parents that their children must always verbalize their feelings on demand on the parents' terms, and that parents should constantly be talking about their child's feelings. And that's not helpful to many kids. In fact, in the case of kids like Chris, it often escalates their emotional dysregulation. When your child is already emotionally escalated, that is not the time to try to get them to talk about their emotions because kids cannot learn, and for the most part, they can't really hear when they're already emotionally escalated. I will tell you, I used to make this mistake a lot with my son when he was younger, and I would try to have these conversations with him when he was escalated, and I would always make it worse. I also want you to keep in mind that just because your child may struggle to express their feelings verbally in the moment, that does not mean that they need therapy. They may need time to express their emotions in a way that feels right for them on their terms. And if they prefer not to express their emotions, that's okay too. Last thing, if your child seems to want to talk about something and is struggling with expressing their feelings, what I suggest is giving them a menu of options. Here's an example of that. I hear that you don't want to attend the new gymnastics class. When kids have to do something new like this, they may feel nervous because they don't know what to expect. They may feel scared of talking to new people. They may be feeling excited, or they may be feeling a mix of feelings. Do any of those sound like how you're feeling right now? So by giving kids this menu of feelings, what it's teaching them is that there is no right or wrong way to feel. And it also helps them to understand that it's okay to feel two different things at the same time. So please remember, your child does not need to express their emotions just like you do, or in a way that someone else said they should. They just need to be able to express them in a way that works for them at this point in their development. Hope this is helpful. I will speak to you soon. Take care.